Samson, please tell me where your great strength lies, and with what you may be bound to afflict you. And Samson said to her, if thou bound me with 7 fresh bowstrings, not yet dry, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. Verse 10, then Delilah said to Samson, look, you have mocked me and told me lies. Now please tell me what you may be bound with. So he said to her, if they bind me securely with new ropes that have never been used, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. Verse 13, Delilah said to Samson, until now you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me what you may be bound with. And he said to her, if you weave the 7 locks of my head into the web of the loom. Verse 15. Then she said to him, how can you say I love you when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times and have not told me where your great strength lies. And it came to pass, when she pestered him daily with her words and pressed him, so that his soul was vexed to death, that he told her all his heart, and said to her, no razor has ever come upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaven, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. And I want to preach today from the subject, defeated by deception. All right. Defeated by deception. All right. Let me open today by saying the life of Samson is seen in 4 chapters in the book of Judges. All right. It is seen in chapter 13, chapter 14, chapter 15, and chapter 16. Right. Here in these chapters, Samson has been called to be great from the day he was conceived. All right. The Bible says in chapter 13 that the angel of the Lord came to Samson's mother and said to her that I am going to open your womb. And when I open your womb, he says that you will conceive and bear a child. All right. And his name shall be called Samson. And once you call him Samson, there were 2 things that his mother had to do. All right. Number 1, she could not partake of strong wine. Nor could she put a razor to his head. Here. The reason she could not have strong wine or put a razor to Samson's head is because Samson would become Israel's great deliverer. Samson was conceived in greatness. God had a purpose for his life from the day of conception. But as we move from chapter 13 over into chapter 14, here's where Samson's problems began. All right. Samson's problems began because he could not handle power. All right. Whoa. He could not handle pressure. Whoa. And he could not handle his passions. All right. for you today. I want you to understand this. Samson, he could not handle power. He could not handle pressure, nor could he handle his passions. Now, please understand, his power, not being able to handle power suggests Samson, because he was powerful, because he was mighty, had the mindset that I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. I'm going to get in trouble here. He could not control his power. As people of God, you know we have some people in the church today that cannot handle power. As long as you are a nobody sitting in the pew, no one knows your name, you ain't singing no solos, you ain't ministering on no ministries, nothing is wrong. You do what the pastor asks you to do, you go where you're asked to go, but as soon as you get some power, Samson could not handle his power, but then he could not handle pressure. Because if you read chapter 14, around verses 14 to 17, you'll see here that Samson, he comes across some people and he tells them a riddle. He says, I need to know, where can I get something sweet from something great? And he gives these people that he's talking to, he gives them about 3 to 7 days to try to figure out this riddle. And if they figured it out, Samson would have, yes Lord, he would have to give them 30 pieces of clothing. But if they didn't figure it out, they had to give Samson 30 pieces of clothing. So watch what happens now. Samson, he tells them this riddle. Everything is on the line. These people, the men, they could not figure it out. So they go down to Samson's wife. And they ask Samson's wife, they ask Miss Samson, what is it about this riddle? And the Bible says, here's the pressure. The Bible says that Samson's wife pressures him and pressed him and pestered him until he told her the riddle. He buckled under the pressure. I came to drop this word into somebody today. Don't you sit here and look at Samson in that tone of voice, because you're still buckling under the pressure. As soon as the right one comes along, as soon as the right thing happens, as soon as they say the right thing, as soon as they keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, we buckle under the pressure. Samson couldn't handle power. He couldn't handle pressure. Lastly, he could not handle his passion. Now, I'm going to get into trouble here because Samson's passion was very simple. Samson had a passion for women. Come on. Samson had a passion for women. Now, let me put in the text right here and suggest to you, I see some good in that passion. Because in the day and time that we live in, when we have men and women that find their passion in other men and women, not of the opposite sex, but of the same sex, I tend it to be okay that Samson had a passion for women, because the text didn't say he had a passion for men. I'm sorry. It says he had a passion for women. But here's the problem with Samson's passion. The problem with Samson's passion is this: he always chose the wrong woman. Y'all don't want to help me preach this thing in here. Samson constantly found himself in a position of choosing the wrong woman. It's right there in chapter 14, verse number 2. He went down and says he found a woman in the camp of the Philistines. He went to the enemy's camp. Come on. Watch this now.